I'm telling you, back in the day, certain man then will be getting spanked up and down for this nonsense. How are you people doing today, huh? What are you man saying in the chat? Do you know what I mean? We're gonna have Dammy join us in a second. Turkish is gonna join us in about 5 minutes. But I've got energy in it, so I thought let me go live right now. I was like, let me go live right now, and then at least that way I can just start talking immediately. Obviously, some of you man have come from Twitter. Honest to God, yeah. And I'm not going to speak about this for too long because Turkish and Dammy are going to get here. We're meant to be talking about the FA Cup. But some people really, really, really need to humble themselves on that platform. Seriously. I don't want to see grown adults talking about Twitter toxicity and then moving how they're moving. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see people... My reply, my little innocent reply under Simon Phillips's report, I'm talking about Kai Havertz in the role that he's been playing in. And if you watch these streams, because, you know what I mean, I'm starting to think this content creator is not watching the stream. So he's not listening to other people's point of view. Cool. So I've been saying quite consistently for some time, Kai Havertz needs to be further up the pitch. He can play in the 4-3-3, but he needs to be in the box for the crosses. If you watch the streams, you would have heard that. But unfortunately, certain man them only think their opinion is right. Certain man them are in their own echo chamber, their own bubble. And they put out a video saying, oh, cool. What we're going to do is we're going to start listening to other people's opinions. The truth. We're going to start listening to other people's opinions. We're going to start actually listening to what other fans have got to say. We're not going to just be completely biased on Lampard, which is your own words, what you have been, completely biased, which you said, huh. But then now, after one win against Morecambe, suddenly we're sending shots everywhere, yeah? Well, what's going on? We're sending shots. Okay, cool. We can send shots. It's not a problem. Like I said, some people just need to humble themselves in this fan base. They think that they're God's glory, God's grace. You need to humble yourselves. You're not a tactician. You're not a coach. You get things wrong. I'm still waiting for Lewis Baker to make starts in the team. I'm still waiting for Lewis Baker to have his breakout season under Frank Lampard. So we move bombastically. Dammy, what are you saying? It's a
brother, yeah.
Brother, you rang me. I'm chilling at home, yeah. I'm chilling at home, resting, yeah. And someone's atting me on Twitter. You're like, yo, you ring me. I'm like, what's going on? Nini's atting me and Eunice on Twitter, talking about all this because we beat Morecambe.
You know the thing is, yeah.
It's a madness. Brother's lost his damn mind, and then he wants to get personal. This is why I'm okay to do it on YouTube. Usually I keep my shit clean and respectful. Like I say, I don't try and have beefs. I just try and entertain and do my thing and move on. But when you want to get personal now, you want to try to start talking about debate that we had, you brought on this girl, that girl. You want to get onto me? Cool, we can get onto you though. Because you had a debate, Lampard in versus Lampard out, debate on your channel, and you don't let no one else speak. What's that all about?
See, yeah, let me just tell you guys something. Because the thing is, like, at the end of the day, for me and like Matisse, yeah, obviously, you guys know two of us are man and we're guys. The thing with this whole beef, I'm not really going to get involved, but I'm going to speak for Matisse and myself when I say what I have to say next. This whole thing, yeah, when it comes to chatting about football and arguing, I've never claimed to be a Catenaccio beast or a pseudo-intellectual or UEFA A license holder or UEFA B license holder. You might go check who I'm following. I follow about 400 people. 200 of those people have less than 200 followers. Not because I'm following them and, oh, they're my man, them, or they're my guys or anything along those lines, but because when we speak football, I can actually have a conversation with these men. When you come onto the platform acting like you're holier than thou, X, Y, and Z, it don't make no sense. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even specifically taking shots at Nini or anything like that. But at the end of the day, for me personally, it don't make no. But see, that's the thing, Matisse. What I'm saying is, it's difficult for people to actually come onto the platform and actually have a conversation. It's difficult.
Brother,
like, what's the whole idea of the debate?
4 fucking days ago, he makes a video saying the truth. How I'm going to start listening to other fans' opinions. I'm going to start taking other people's things into account. I've heard the criticism. He's DMing me saying, oh, listen, I'm sorry. You know, I should have let you man speak. I've been cutting you off in debate. I need to work on that. Then wants to start piping up to me and Eunice on Twitter like as if, what? Did we come on the platform and say that we're UEFA B license holders? Did we come on the platform and say we know everything? No, we didn't. But I've made some very consistent points over the last week and a half on my channel. And I'm not going to have nobody discredit me just because they do what? Because you spend 2-3 hours doing research before games. Cool, you do your thing. I'm a fan. I speak as a fan. I don't tell I let other people have their other opinions on this channel. I don't slam and disregard and disrespect Lampard out people. I let them talk. I let them have their say. But this brother, he doesn't want to do that. He thinks he's some sort of Jody Morris regen. So cool, do your thing. But if that's the case, then if anything goes tits up in the future, don't holler my line. Fam, delete my number. That's all I'm saying. Take my number out your phone. I'm not going to have nobody talk to me. Fam, this is not a joke. I'm not going to have nobody talk to me like that on Twitter. I think that they can talk all that smoke and all that grease and start calling me, oh, I'm going to flip-flop. What am I flip-flopping on? I'm still Lampard in. I made a video with you and Mod saying reasons why we're Lampard in. But the difference is with me, I can respect other people's perspectives. I can have a debate. I can see where Lampard is going wrong, where he needs criticising. Other man can't see that. And he knows that because he made a damn video on it saying, I have been biased on Lampard. His own words. I can clip this shit up and put it on Twitter, but I ain't got time for that because we got Turkish in the building. Do you know what I'm saying? And my man Turkish needs some attention. What are you saying, my brother?
Well, the thing
listen, I was entertained there, fam. You can take me out and continue if you want.
Brother,
but now, like I
my
said,
guy, listen, yeah,
at the end of the day, bro, like I keep telling you, the thing with this situation, football, all of us are here to entertain. You understand? When people come on the platform telling me they've been analyzing games XYZ, I watch games back. I watch games back. I have a full-time job and I watch games back. But that don't make me better than the next person. You understand where I'm coming from? I follow people that have 30, 40, 50 followers on the Bird app. And I let these man pattern me when we're having proper debates and conversation. None of this bull crap where you come at people telling them XYZ. And then, no, the thing is, I'm even going to say it here. The darkest times patterned them up. Short and simple. Forget all the drama left, right, and center. Forget all the drama left, right, and center. Yeah? Forget all the drama that surrounded it. She had that drama. People messed up. XYZ, whatever. Footballing wise, straight up, she patterned him completely. And the thing is, like, if you're not going to actually sit down and listen to what people have to say, then you can get out. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I've had people that have ties to the club as well on my YouTube channel. I've spoken to these man, okay? They have connections to Reece. They have connections to Lampard. They speak to these man on the regular. But when I speak what I have to say with regards to why Lampard isn't performing, they can actually entertain the conversation. That's what it's supposed to be. It's a debate. You're supposed to learn from people when you're having these sort of conversations. It's not about trying to put forcing your own narrative on the next person. If you can't have a debate or a conversation without getting bare rude, then you can shift off. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Just very real, fam.
Do you know what? Yeah, just to wrap up, yeah, because obviously Turkish has no idea what's going on. Brother, have a calm stream, and suddenly the whole place just gets locked off and lit up. Yeah, but just to finalize, my reply was saying that Havertz needs to be utilized differently. He should be higher up the pitch. That is partly, as I've said on this channel, 50% Werner and Havertz for not doing the basics and 50% Frank for not utilizing them correctly. He is not being utilized correctly, in my opinion. He has been too deep. The Athletic reported it. Liam Tui reported it, right? Kante has been in the box for headers. That is what I said in my reply, that Havertz against Morecambe was the first time yesterday we saw him in the box and no shit, he starts scoring headers. That's been very consistent on this channel. So if you're not going to watch my streams, don't comment on my logic. Turkish, welcome to the building. And my guy, just to segue you in nice and smoothly, a lot of people talk about Twitter toxicity, but there's some grown-ass men on Twitter who are contributing to that. And like I said, Twitter is a platform full of young people, full of kids, below 18, below 21, a lot of immature people. But what does not help is when people that are meant to be mature go on there and start acting up recklessly. What do you think on Twitter? Just to segue you in nicely.
Yeah, bro, you see me on Twitter. I stay away from that platform because I feel like, you know, as much as freedom of speech is a necessity, at the same time, you know, it opens up a can of worms because, you know, you let people talk who like to talk and you find out how full of shit they are. That's a big quote from the Rush Hour movie. And it's reality. It is reality. And that, you know what, I've been in this, I don't know, this game, this industry for a couple of years now. And the only thing I can tell you guys, obviously you lot are younger and coming through more recently, is just focus on, you know, yourselves, as hard as it is to do sometimes. Listen, if you know you're that type of person that thrives off of controversy, thrives off of heated debates, angry debates, criticizing, other fans, then be that person. But if you're not that person, then steer away, man. In the Arsenal fan base, we've got enough examples of every type of fan, and I've managed to steer away. And a few years down the line, I think that's boded better for me, because similar with you guys actually talk a lot of sense. You back up your claims. Dammy, I've seen you on Lee's channel. Matisse, me and you've been working together for the last couple of months. And whether right or wrong, you come with substance, you come with reasoning, you come with facts, figures, you come with knowledge, And on Twitter, you get every Tom, Dick, or Harry that thinks they're a journalist, thinks they're a super fan, or I don't know. The way I see it is, I'm an Arsenal fan that has got a voice. That's all. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a content creator. I'm not anything. I'm just a fan that puts on my camera, talks, and then leaves it at that. And I see you guys similarly, but obviously being younger, there's a lot more potential for you guys, And I wouldn't want you, man, to ruin the reputation you've built so far by getting involved in anything silly. I can't lie to you. Some man thrive on that, and I think time will tell, bro. Time told with me. When I first came on the scene, people thought I was ultra negative. I was a ranty type of character. Not rants. I mean, someone who rants a lot. Before another beef gets brought out of nowhere, but 2 years down the line, people see that it wasn't necessarily negativity or rants. It was passion and it was reality. And I stayed true to myself. And I think you, man, try and do the same. Twitter is an ugly place. It can be a beautiful place, because look at you, Matisse. Look at what you've created on Twitter. Stop me if I'm wrong, but I think, your main platform before this was Twitter, innit? So 100%. Credit where it's due. If you can hack it in there, hack it. But as you get bigger on these platforms, the opinion opens up, and the worst form of opinion comes from Twitter. I'm not gonna lie, the worst forms of opinion. Instagram, it's a nice, calm environment. Twitter, people want to bring you down left, right, and center.
I don't really deal with Instagram too much, but I'm trying. But Twitter, I love Twitter. I love Twitter. But I feel like a big problem today is people hold their own opinion in too high regard. They're too, I don't know, maybe their setup or their channel or what is based on them being right all the time and making sure that they have control over the situation and their supporters. My channel ain't based on that. Some people, if you've been watching this channel from the beginning, I like to give my opinion, but I give it as a fan. And if I'm wrong, I ain't got no problem with being wrong. I've never been having a problem with being wrong. But I also like to entertain. So I'm not really just going to hold my opinion in this mad high regard and live and die by it. And because it's not really it's not really a massive concern to me. You see me on this channel, wake up in my bed and go and do roundabout, and film all of that. Do you know what I mean? So for me, this channel will never just be about opinion. It will also be about having fun. And I think other people need to recognize that, need to understand that. But at the same time, I don't think a win against Morecambe, we're going to get to the FA Cup games now. I don't think a win against Morecambe changes too much for Frank Lampard. I really don't. I think he's still, like I said, back up what I've been saying. Timo Werner has been played out wide for the bad run that Chelsea were on. Timo Werner was out wide for a lot of that. Now he's playing up front. That's a change that a lot of people wanted to see. I personally still don't want to see him start against Fulham. I've been very consistent on that. I don't think that he's, one goal, one tap-in has suddenly changed his form around. I think that we can still go with Tammy and Giroud up front and right now prioritize points over players. And yes, I've wanted to see Hudson-Odoi out wide, who had another great game yesterday, played very well. And for me, as I said in my last stream with Son of Chelsea, even if you have to take Pulisic out of the team and put him on the bench for Fulham, from a meritocracy standpoint, I think that's fair as well. Have you had, obviously, Arsenal played as well and won against Newcastle. I don't know why, but there seems to be a sway in emotions now because Chelsea have beaten Morecambe. Any change for you since Arsenal beating Newcastle, or are you very much head screwed on same situation as before the game?
Nah, same situation, obviously. FA Cup, we've got a connection to that cup, and I love it. Listen, I'm going to say something now, and it's something that I saw on Instagram as well. And when you look at 2020, for example, I know we won the FA Cup, but we was probably bantered a lot more than Chelsea, United, Tottenham. But when you look at that overall year, Arsenal got a trophy, and some of the other clubs mentioned was all about good vibes in little moments. So I'm not going to kid myself and say that I don't want the FA Cup. I want the FA Cup, but like you said, it can't paper over cracks. I think if I was a Chelsea fan looking at this season and someone told me in August that you're going to be playing Morecambe at home in January, first round of the FA Cup, I would have thought to myself, well, I expect to see Giroud get a game there, maybe Tammy, maybe you'll see Hudson-Odoi a bit more. But essentially, you come to this point and he's playing a lot of the players that you would have thought back then would have been rested for this game, would have been kicking on in the league. So you can't just take this game in isolation and make a story from it. He played the big boys in this game, and a 4-0 pretty much justifies the team selection. So I feel like there's nothing much you can take from it. Same way with Arsenal, 90 minutes, 0-0, lethargic, slow, 2 goals in extra time again. Emil Smith-Rowe, Lacazette, Saka, making the impact. I feel like there's not much we can take from it either. There's major work that needs to be done internally for us. And I think your work is more internal too, but maybe more managerial wise. That's the discussion around Chelsea now.
No, 100%. And I think recent weeks, and me and Dammy covered the review after the Morecambe game. There's some good things to highlight, but at the same time, the chat were very well in reminding us it's only Morecambe, a League 2 opposition that rested players, and they're 7th in League 2, mind you that. So yes, there were great things, and there were some good signs of progress in terms of the relationships on the pitch, and in terms of things that I wanted to see, like Kai Havertz being in the box. If you're gonna play Timo, I guess play him up front. But again, I still don't think lone forward long term he's going to be, he's going to be a much changed player. I still think tactically things need to change. We need to play more through balls. We need to, utilize his strengths over his weaknesses for that to really become a prominent thing in keeping him in the team, because we're still a team that rely heavily on crosses. We've crossed the most in the league. I've been saying that. And one thing I've been saying as well is that if we're going to cross so relentlessly, which is the right word to use, then you have to have Giroud and Kai Havertz in the box, because those are your best headers of the ball in the team, probably, from an attacking standpoint. Thank you, Ken Berry, for the comment. I'm not going to read it out because, like I said, I'm going to move on from the beef. But
yeah,
do you know what I mean? I'd like to think that I can hold it. I can hold my own in these debates somewhat. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to think that I come with some sort of substance. So thank you very much for the comment.
But you see the reaction to Big Six. That tells you all you need to know.
No, that has been a great show, and I'm looking forward to doing that tonight, man. We've got a fantastic group there. Such a good group, such a good chemistry. Everybody vibes off each other. You got great energy, great little rivalries forming, but still very good debate. So it's very hard to come by. That show. I must be honest with you. That show. It's been a rough couple of weeks. We've picked ourselves back up, and now I'm a little bit vexed again, but I'll get over it. That show really does just bring your mood up. It can't not. Do you know what I mean? It cannot. Every time I come off that show, I'm always laughing. I'm like, damn, that really just
trust me. Yeah,
trust me. It's such a vibe, bro. I don't know how you managed to select these personalities and put them together, but credit to you. That show on YouTube. If you guys have not seen that, I'm not even pissing around here. If you have not seen that show in particular, go make sure that you tune in tonight. 10 p.m. The Big Six. Me, Turkish, we all sit there, break bread, and just it gets mad. Saeed, Tottenham Tobes, Big Steve, Grizz. It is hilarious, fam. It is such a good show. Such a good show. So Turkish, what's your situation with Arteta now? Because obviously me and Dammy I feel like we're both still on the same page in terms of Lampard still deserves to get criticised, still needs to improve, and so do the players, definitely. But at the end of the day, as I've said, I think the more that this squad becomes Lampard's, and I don't know how you feel about Arteta, and I'll roll it to you in a second, but the more this squad becomes the manager's in terms of he gets his signings in, the more responsibility he has to take for those players not playing well. So a lot of people keep saying, Chelsea, why are we always blaming Frank? Why are we not blaming it on the players? Mostly because these are his players. If you sign Havertz, Timo Werner, and then there's mentality issues or there's commitment issues or the basics are not getting done correctly, of course, we still apportion a percentage of blame to them. But more blame will go to Lampard. And that's coming from someone who's still Lampard in. But he has to start taking more responsibility because the squad is now forming him. It's now his squad. We're not in a situation of last season where he's using another man's team. He's using his team. once he's had the full turnover of players, and in January, if you sell more players, or in the summer you sell more players, the more this squad becomes Lampard, the more responsibility Lampard has to take for the squad, because it's a squad that he's assembled. Is that not the logic that would you use the same logic for Arteta?
100%. That's why, you know, when people try and, you know, not compare, but, you know, try and look at Lampard now and try and look at Arteta now, I feel you can't really judge Arteta right now, because he hasn't been given what I believe any manager needs to be given. And that is a bit more freedom in the transfer market, a bit more proactivity. That's not to say, you know, he doesn't deserve criticism, because he does. Some of the things he's said and done in the early part of the season, you know, hung himself out to dry. He's using players that have let us down as fans before. Maybe they haven't let him down before, but they've certainly let him down now. We're on a little run of form. The youth players have brought that in. Hopefully Arteta learns. He's a new manager, like Lampard. You know, Lampard's got maybe a year or two more under his belt. But Arteta's a new manager, and I feel like it's all a learning curve for him. At Arsenal, do we have the patience for a learning curve? I don't think so. Hence why we are so reactionary at the moment with, you know, a few wins, everything's hunky-dory, a few losses, it's the end of the world. I feel like I'm the same place I was with Arteta at the beginning of the season. I'm not happy with the transfer window, and I can't judge him as much as I'd like to, because I'd like to say now whether I truly believe in Arteta or not, and I can't say that. You know, I can't. I don't think it's down to tactical nous or an improvement in motivation why we've picked up form. I just believe it's down to hungrier players that he could have potentially utilized earlier on. Maybe not with Martinelli and Emile Smith-Rowe injuries, but let's see how it goes over the next few weeks and months, because, you know, as good as 4 wins on the trot are, it means very little. I always say, even if we win the next 10 games in a row, if you're finishing anywhere from 2nd to 17th, it doesn't really mean much. You know, some positions mean you get into the Champions League, but that all comes down to what are you going to do in the Champions League next year, you know? And this is where it comes down to last year as well. And if, for example, Man United fans who towards the end of the season, I've got a lot of friends that are United fans, they'd be laughing. We made top 4. We won FA Cup. And, you know, it felt like you couldn't talk up the FA Cup as much as top 4, but then United go on, and a few months later they're knocked out of the competition that they were so happy to be in. We've still got our trophy. So unless you do something in the Champions League by making top 4, unless you mean business or you mean to kick on, it doesn't really mean much. So for me, I feel like 4 wins doesn't mean much. 10 wins won't mean much. I need to see the full season come and go before I kind of analyze it a bit better. But this January, you know, Rob Holding, new contract, Eddie Nketiah not being sold. It doesn't bode well for Arteta if it's his decisions, because those are 2 players that should be on the way out. But apparently they're getting a bit more behind them now. So I don't know what's going on, bro. Right now, it's still too early to judge, but you know what I think anyway. It's bigger than Arteta. That's the
it's always been. And I think that many times that gets missed in the Arsenal fan base sometimes is that we don't speak about Kroenke enough. I feel like there's always a ceiling to Arsenal with Kroenke in charge. Dammy, what do you make of Arsenal? Because I have brought up the point in the past where Oli and Arteta seem to have got themselves onto a decent run of form. Potentially that's a way in for Lampard to look at them and say, right, not making stupid comparisons to Klopp and managers like that and saying, you know, this is the process we're on, because that's just silly. As I've been saying, there's no comparison between Lampard and Klopp when they both arrive at their clubs with the CVs that they uphold. But you can compare them to very, very inexperienced Arteta's, and Ollie's more experienced but hasn't done much in the game. So the signs of them improving, do you feel like, are you taking anything from Arsenal's recent run of form to say, okay, maybe Frank Lampard has a chance here to fix things up?
I mean, the thing is, but at the end of the day, even if, like, I can look at what Arsenal are doing. I mean, Lee calls him Tapas Pulis with his rat army. That's the most ridiculous thing. Pandemic Pep is ridiculous. And, like, obviously, you see the form it's picked up, especially after you guys beat us. But moving forward, when you look at it, I can't really compare those 2 in any way, shape, or form, because the thing with Arsenal's board, like you said, Kroenke will always be a factor that prevents Arsenal from progressing up onto the levels that they used to be. That's what I think personally. I don't think he backs the club well enough. When I saw, and Lee disagreed with me on this one, I mean, but it is what it is. When I saw that Arsenal took out a loan of 120 million pounds, I was like, what? Your owner is literally a billionaire. and you're out here taking loans. Roman Abramovich has borrowed our club so much money that he's completely written off, and he shows that he completely backs and wants this club to like succeed. He has very good interest in the football club, but you guys are taking out loans. That's kind of embarrassing, in my opinion. Do you understand? Lee felt like it was a bit smart, but I completely disagreed. So when things now boil down to comparisons per se, when you look at Chelsea's squad and look at how Lampard is being backed, Lampard just reminds me of a student whose parents love them so much, okay? And they're giving them everything they need to succeed, and that child is still kind of failing. Do you know what I mean? Last year, the situation I had last year was, okay, we have all these youth players who are very hungry, and we have a lot of fringe players, a smaller squad, all those different elements and factors were in consideration. But this year, we've gotten all the new tools, all the new toys. We're trying to do something different. Everybody makes the excuse of Rona, which everybody has. I don't know why people act like it's just Chelsea. Everybody, in fact, if anything, Chelsea was more advantaged in the sense that we had more money to spend due to our transfer ban. So Frank Lampard right now, I'm not really even going to compare him to Arteta. Even if we do get on some run of form, a lot of people feel like Chelsea's hit a bad run of form. I don't look at it that way. I mean, maybe it's possible with the fatigue and everything coming for the players, but why did we hit that bad run of form when we went up against teams who have better managers and higher tactics than us? Why did we do that against Nuno? Why did we do that against Ancelotti? Arteta, as much as we all like to take the piss out of him, he does know something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he did work under Pep for quite some time.
Exactly, he does know something. And then now we're coming up to beat Morecambe, and so people are starting to pipe up. Do you understand? I can't really compare that. I can't compare.
The thing is, we had our moment after the review. I feel like a review is always meant to be the emotion of the game. Like I said, when we did our review, we isolated the game, we enjoyed ourselves, but we did, the chat very well.
We patterned them,
it's just Morecambe, 100%. It's just Morecambe, and even it's like I said on the street. It's a very small brick in a foundation, a very small one, and the only reason why I would even give it a small brick, as I said, is because there were things in that game that I wanted to see that we saw. So at last, Havertz is in the box and not Kante. At last, Hudson-Odoi is out wide and not Werner. Little things. And no shit, our play is just a lot better and there's a lot more fluidity when Havertz, who occupied final third positions for Leverkusen on average, is in final third positions and winning headers in the box, scoring, setting up Werner, closer to Werner. In the new formation that I suggested when we had no wingers, I said that Havertz and Werner can potentially play up top together, because if you take away maybe some of the defensive responsibilities from them and the build-up responsibilities and just say to them, go and play up front and link up, potentially you'll get goals. We saw that link up on the weekend. So I like the 4-3-3, but like I said, over the last few months, I haven't liked the way that we have consistently not made any changes to how we utilize those players in the 4-3-3. How Werner is always involved in so much build-up. I said it to the Turkish a couple of weeks ago. There's examples of strikers like Aubameyang, like Vardy, who Werner can be similar to in terms of using his pace to exploit defenses and manage to get a lot of goals in the team. Of course, he needs to do the basics there. His finishing's been awful, which is why I said he should be dropped. But he also needs to be on the last shoulder of the defense. And if that can't work out wide, then you have to take him out of the team. That's
another thing your pseudo-intellectuals who say they analyze football without actually analyzing it would tell you as well. Like, look at
some people analyze football with rose-tinted glasses, and there's a lot of bias in it. And that is something that we have to accept. I think Turkish would have experienced this when Wenger was in charge, right? When you're speaking about a person, and this is where Arsenal fans and Chelsea fans can relate. When you're speaking about Wenger or Lampard, and there's so much emotion and so much affinity to the man, then yes, things can start to get disorientated. Things can start to get patchy, and we don't start looking at things from all the different perspectives that we need to in order to make a conclusion. You can't make a balanced argument on Lampard without taking into account what people are saying from Lampard out. You can't do it. I know a lot of people would like to live in this imaginary world where we just ignore everybody who's Lampard out or who's got something bad to say about Lampard and his managerial capabilities. But that is not a balanced take then. You're just taking all of your bias and all of the good points that you see, and you're not looking at anything. So if you want to watch games back and watch them 3-4 times over and only look at the good things, then that is fine. But you have to look at in-game what Lampard has been doing, using Pulisic out on the right wing and sacrificing his own capabilities for Werner on the left wing and things like that. Your next game, Turkish, are you growing in confidence that you guys can, I don't want to say make top 4, but climb up the league and start playing, be where you should be? Because you are obviously 11th, we're 9th, so we're both way off the pace. Are you growing in confidence that you guys can move up the table and start, getting back into conversations again?
There's a lot of teams in, but the points will tell you that it's quite, close in there, and a few wins can change the whole setup of the league. And even though that's correct, there's a lot of teams between us and, top 4 or even top 6 right now. There's about 5. Well, there's 5 teams between us. So I think it's too early for me to think about that. And in essence, I'm worried that if that is the case, will it be sold to us fans as a late push? We found consistency. We found the way of working. We don't need a big summer like we thought we did. Because under Wenger, there was many times where it didn't look like we was going to make top 4. The final 6 months, we went on a run from like February to April, May, and we made top 4. And in the summer, we're told that if you look at the last 5 months, our form, we're top of the league. We're second in the league, Yeah. And then in the summer, we don't do the business. So I'll never want my club to lose. I want my club to win every single game. And if we win every single game, we'll make top 4 this season. But it's very unlikely, And I feel like aiming for the stars this season essentially would be blindfolding myself like a lot of fans do already. I tend to tell a lot of fans to take the blindfolds off and, stick to reality. And the reality is that we can look and hope for the best in the league and challenge for top 4. But in reality, are we going to be happy with that? We shouldn't be, and I just feel like it's a, catch-22 situation. I feel like Palace, Newcastle, next 2 home games, very winnable. It'll be interesting to see the league after them next 2 games. But I also feel that on one hand, they're going to tell us that we need top 6. We need top 4 for the money. On the other hand, they told us that last year and they didn't do the business in the transfer window. So it's kind of, I'm tired of Thursday, Sundays, bro. I'm tired of that. I didn't think it was a problem. When I was when we were in Champions League and people used to moan about the schedule, I used to think, well, Thursday, Sunday, Monday, what's the difference? Now I know the difference. I feel it, and I don't want that no more. So I'd rather top 4 or out of the top 6.
And more time as well. You're traveling further in the Europa League because there's more unknown teams. So you're going to like Eastern European countries. You're going further. Do you know what I mean? You're going really far out there. Some of these away trips. Whereas Champions League, there seems to be more of like your Italy, Spain's and England's, but they are trying to open it up to more teams. I've always thought to myself as well, if you look at the past in terms of, doing well. I remember when Chelsea did well in the Premier League, they won it with Conte. We didn't have European football that season, which is something that's not spoken about enough. That really helped us planning week to week, having no gaps in between. Same with the likes of Arsenal in terms of maybe if you was, I don't know, I don't want to say take 1 step back, 2 steps forward, but if you was to come out the Europa League, because you've always been in it, do you know what I mean? And that does take an effect on your schedule. If you was to come out the Europa League and then heavily invest and then really, really go for it, and I'm talking really go to actually like get top 3, top 2, top 1 in the Premier League, that potentially might be how you get yourself back in. Do you know what I mean? Because I've seen Leicester do it. Chelsea have done it when they had that dreadful season where we finished outside the top 4. We finished like 10th or something under Mourinho's season when we kind of threw in the towel. So yeah, how do you feel about that? Would you allow for that or? Like I said, if it's not top 4, then that's what I want, Matisse. That's actually what I want. I think there's nothing to hide from. If you have a season of just Premier League football, there's no, Europa League or Champions League in the background where you have to think about rotation. You can use it as an excuse and say, the players are tired. I think the club have got away with so many excuses over the years that I'm trying to have a season where there can't be an excuse. And I believe if there is just the Premier League to focus on, then there is no excuse anymore. So I think if this season we don't do it, then I'd rather not do it completely and then just have next year to focus on the league, focus on top 4. And then we'll know pretty soon 3-4 months in, then you can make a proper judgment on Arteta come December, January next year. No European football, all Premier League, 3 transfer windows. We expect to see something more. If you don't get that, then cool. We know then it's either back to the transfer window, or if the transfer window was a good one, it's back to the manager. So we know who to blame. At the moment with European football in there as well, I always hear, we just played on Thursday. This player's not feeling it.
3 games in 5 days. It's not fair. Well, if it isn't fair, just scrap it all for the season, Arsenal, and let's just go for the league. And I don't mean go for the league title. I mean fucking go and get top 4 for once.
Yeah, exactly. Because to be honest, I feel like people underestimate just how important top 4 is. Me and Dammy been saying this as well, where our bare minimum expectation for the season is and has to be top 4 for Lampard. And I don't feel like that's unreasonable. Again, people are saying, no, if we finish outside the top 4, it depends on the situation. Maybe so. I mean, but for me, we have to uphold some sorts, because if you allow your standards to slip too low, I don't feel like Chelsea's standards should be slipping that low, whether you're in a project or not. If you start allowing your standards to slip too low, then it becomes a cycle. And that's what I've seen happen to Arsenal over the years, where they slipped out of top 4 one time, kind of, then maybe the board level started to say, okay, cool, not a problem. And then now it's just a reoccurring thing. You can't get yourself back up. And this is how giant clubs end up becoming clubs that are now on the peripheral of where they should be. Look at Liverpool, where they dropped out of it, and then they was hanging around 7th, 6th for God knows how long, and they couldn't get themselves back involved. The Premier League is too competitive to have a lapse of concentration where it's just like, yeah, we can afford to dip out. Because then you start attracting players that, you know, you start attracting maybe less quality players, and then suddenly you can't get back to where you wanted to be. And I think that's where Arsenal are struggling now, where we're talking about having to sacrifice competitions to get into other ones at this point. Do you know what I mean? Who have you guys got on the weekend, Turkish?
We've got Palace on Thursday, then Newcastle on Monday.
Oh God, that's a very strange way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, because I know this game week coming up, there's only about 5-6 fixtures. Just even your fixtures has been cancelled for this midweek one. So if you're not playing Fulham Friday, so Fulham can play Tottenham on Wednesday. And now your next game is Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? What did the Chelsea Fulham?
Yeah, it's changed up. So now we're playing Fulham on Saturday, and I think Leicester's being moved to Wednesday. I think something like that. I'm not sure about Leicester, but I know
Matisse, they took Fulham away from you, and now Fulham are going to play Tottenham because Aston Villa have got the COVID cases. Your game gets moved into. I think Aston Villa, Everton are going to. I don't know what's happening.
This is mad. I didn't know this. Is this what happened? I didn't even know
where you were. Oh my
wow. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to address that then, because that's literally gonna throw off my whole schedule. YB1 says Europa League hits different, makes summer feels like winter.
Then winter is coming ones, bro.
Here for Arsenal. Lee Gunner in the chat. That's what I'm saying. Love that. Trump lost. Wow. Turkish, what are your thoughts on Holding signing a new contract, Tierney or Chilwell? Okay, 2 questions then.
Holding signing a new contract, you've heard already. You know, it doesn't show much change from the club. That should be a player we're trying to get rid of. Instead, we're giving him a new contract. In essence, people can say it's to hold his value, but if he was to be sold tomorrow for 15 million or 10 million. I think everyone would be saying, well done, Arteta. You got some decent money for him. So what is it? What value are you trying to keep? 10, 15 mil? Or are you keeping another player that's let us down? So I'm not too happy about it, to be honest. And Tierney or Chilwell, as an Arsenal fan, I've got a bit of bias, but I won't kid myself to say Chilwell hasn't been more consistent in this league, obviously. The Tierney, I think, will become the better left back. I have no doubt about that, but I feel like Chilwell is probably the better left back right now. Okay,
fair enough. To be honest, I rate Tierney very highly. I've watched him since he was at Celtic. I think Celtic, they've been slept on in terms of getting players from them. And even though I didn't want to see Arsenal obviously get Tierney because I knew he was a good player, but it was good to see a big club from England actually go and get a Celtic player, because they've had Van Dijk, Dembele went to Lyon. Even back in the days of Izagiri, he was lighting up before Tierney came along. And Tierney's very versatile. And one thing I have to give credit to Tierney is, I've said this before, I think I personally think he has the minerals to be a captain for you lot. I think Aubameyang being captain never really made sense to me too much. I don't think he's that type of personality. I'm not massively in favor of the best player being captain. I think it's all about the traits and the way that they lead the team and they carry themselves. And obviously Aubameyang's had great commitment and got a goal on the weekend, which was crucial for him as well. But I don't think he's one of those guys to rally the team along through difficult times, so to speak. Whereas Tierney, I think he was captain at Celtic. He's played left centre back in a free for you. He's played wing back, left back. Such a versatile player going forward. Can whip in a good cross. For me, I think if he can stay away from injuries, and I think that's been a reason for his inconsistencies as well. If he can stay away from injuries, I think you guys are really. I've said this before to you, but I feel like Arsenal, despite the poor league position, I have been impressed with some of your signings and the fact that you're actually addressing areas that I never thought you would. Signing players like Partey, never would have expected that from Arsenal. Signing players like Gabriel, like Tierney. That's like, you don't associate those type of signings with Arsenal, where the fact that, you know, you're going for players that, you can play good football, but there's a mentality there as well with those players. They're either world class or you've got a Tierney with a proper mentality. So I don't know. It's tough to judge where you're heading right now, because obviously results this season haven't been good enough for the stature of the club. But I definitely think your recruitment is being up and down. So it's again hard to judge. Willian, like, you know what I feel about Willian. Dammy, you want to have a moment on him?
Broccoli head. The Samba Albrighton. What names haven't I seen? Oh, nah, that guy is something else. You know, thing is, when you guys signed him and I tweeted out about Willian, a lot of Arsenal fans came up, they quoted the living daylights out of me. I said it. And you know, it's funny because I think he's only had 2 shots on target for you guys this season, or something stupidly ridiculous along those lines. Correct me if I'm wrong. I said he only turns up every 75 business days. That is how Willian has been, and that's how he will continue to be. He has more priority for his, you know, I mean, the thing is, he definitely has his moments. He has his moments, but he's not the sort of player you'd want to associate with your football club moving forward. He's done the bits for Chelsea, scoring that goal against Barcelona and doing a bit here and there. But I mean, that was the bullet you guys should have dodged. Now he's going to stay there for the next. He's going to retire, and his kids are probably going to come in as well. You guys need to be possible. He's mad.
You man can take his kids' blood. And Louise is them, man. What we don't do with
that. There's a lot of Chelsea fans last season really wanted to keep Willian, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. I refused. I remember. And I feel like, again, this is partly him playing for a contract and not having his future secure last season, where he probably had his best season for us, because he had another great season, but it was a lot of set pieces for the goals. I don't remember it too clearly in terms of just how good he was in open play. So I prefer to say last season was probably his best season for Chelsea under Lampard. But he was playing for something. He had a contract to fight for. It was so obvious how much he wanted to stay at the club.
However,
exactly. However, there's a restaurant involved, and he wants 3 years and all this extra crap. And for me, so many people last season were saying we need to keep him. He's important for the defensive, stability of the team and whatnot. Man, a front three in the modern day, you have got to be contributing in the final third. You have to be. Like, it's not a stats-based era for me. I don't look at every player and say goals and assists. I don't do these tweets where it's like, you have more goals and assists than this, brother. Like, I let them man do their thing. Do you know what I mean? That format for me, I can't hack it. I cannot hack it. However, you have to have output. If you look at the teams that are winning the titles, there is an output from their front three. Do you know what I mean? And this is where some people have been criticising Tottenham, is the fact that it's just Kane and Son. Maybe that's not sustainable in the long term. You need maybe more goal scorers from other areas. There's definitely needs to be balance in the team in terms of contributing to the attack. And that's something I think Chelsea are trying to do. Since post Eden Hazard, they've tried to bring in your Ziyech's, your Pulisic's. You've got Hudson-Odoi there. You've got 3 strikers for me, where we have our arguments all the time about these 3 strikers, but it's quite clear to me now that none of them are incredibly clear of the next. They've all got their little strengths and their weaknesses, and they all are missing something that you'd want in an ideal lone centre forward. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, Werner.
I want to touch on something as well, like you said. The thing is, a lot of people made the argument for Willian's defensive capabilities. I still firmly believe it's a myth. You understand? I don't think it was as amazing on defense like people say. It was a false image. Honestly, it was honestly a false image as far as I'm concerned. But the thing that a lot of people fail to realize is when you try and play this modern attacking football, whatever, like non-defensive counter-attacking, you don't use players like Willian. You require, and this is why I keep talking about tactics, and I've said this on every stream I go on, every single one, my videos, my stream, my podcast. The managerial position is heavily disrespected in modern football. It's no longer about buying good world-class players and chucking them into the team and stuff is going to happen. If you want to defend properly, you need to defend off the ball now. You need to do that with your pressing. That is the most important thing right now if you want to be able to look at Manchester City, look at Liverpool. Their fullbacks are not the most amazing like defenders. Look at Liverpool, for God's sake. Trent can get spun by anybody. Willian can spin Trent, for God's sake. But at the end of the day, the way they press and the way they organize their team overall is the setup that matters. Like I keep saying, you can buy the best squad in world football, you can get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and the quality of your squad might no longer matter. It all boils down to the tactics. Same thing, I keep bringing up Chelsea and Manchester City, for example. Look at that game. I feel like City could have had far worse players. Okay, I genuinely feel like they could have had far worse players and they would have still beaten us by the same scoreline simply because tactically we were completely outclassed. Do you know where I'm coming from? So that argument for Willian being able to defend, blah, 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 is not relevant. And like Matisse rightfully said, players like Aubameyang and Vardy, they rely heavily on players like being able to run off the center back and run off like the backline and everything. But then we've got a manager who is trying to put him and let him score goals off a plate. He's never done that. When you watch him at Leipzig, all the studio intellectuals that watch you can watch this and listen to what I've got to say. When he was at Leipzig, this man never scored goals like that. If you looked at all the goals he was scoring, there's a period where he had 18 goals in 17 games or something along those lines. Every single goal he had was running off the back last man. There was space around him for him to be able to get stuff done. Same thing at Chelsea. That's all the goals he's scoring, bar maybe the one against Morecambe and another tap in here and there. So that's why I keep saying Arteta, Oli, Lampard, all these other managers that have managed other teams around the world. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. All these former players, it is disrespectful by the clubs, genuinely speaking. And I think it is done so that they can have, I wouldn't say to divide the fan base, because I don't think the clubs would want to have a divided fan base. But in situations like this, okay, in situations like this where how much do you want to separate that individual you loved so much from the actual club that is there and how your club is performing? That's how I look at the entire situation personally.
Yeah, it comes down to more than just quality sometimes, how much you care, you know. That's probably more.
This super chat here, Trump lost. Such a great username, by the way. Turkish, is Ozil an Arsenal legend or a good servant? Good question.
Nah, man, Ozil ain't no legend, man. Come on, man. Ozil ain't no Arsenal legend. I'd say good servant. It just ended sour. It started off at such a high, you know. When he came in, I think even as Chelsea fans, you lot probably looked over and thought, well, you know, Arsenal might be back sooner than we think. I think a lot of people thought that, especially us as Arsenal fans. And I give him credit because he signed for us at a time when, you know, we didn't have an out-and-out superstar in the side. He actually signed for us at our lowest. We had sold every single superstar we had down to Van Persie. When he came in, we just come off the back of a season where I think Walcott and Cazorla were our main performers. And you look at Ozil at that time, his name, his brand, and I've got to give him credit for coming here, you know. And I give him credit for that 19 assist season. Sanchez and Giroud let him down heavily. He had about 17 assists in January, I believe. And between Sanchez and Giroud, they couldn't fucking score a few more goals between them until the end of the year. And that's the reality, you know. It's the reality. And right now, if someone just listening to this now, they'll be like, listen to this Ozil fanboy. Because that's just how football fans are, reactionary. But when I flip it and say, as soon as he signed that contract, whether it's the club's fault or his fault, he didn't live up to what I started expecting. You know, people at the time kept on telling me about, why do you look at wages so much? Well, because the club's wage structure is fucked and they're telling us that's why we can only loan players. So I look at why it's fucked, and we've got a man there on 350k. I look around the league and I see other players like Hazard. I think he was on about 300. I look at Aguero. I look at De Bruyne. I look at Salah, Mane. I look at other players in the league that are on similar amounts, Van Dijk. And I think to myself, they're all productive. They all win you games. Regardless of the goals or defending or goalkeeper, they win. Ozil stopped doing that. And I just feel like, you know, enough is enough. And here we are now. He's not a legend. He's a good servant. And that is the ceiling for him. How can I say legend when we got man like Bergkamp? I've seen man like Bergkamp live with my own two eyes, bro. I can't call Ozil a legend after I see a man like that. Do you get what I'm saying? I just can't do it.
100%. 100%. I couldn't agree more. One thing that was good from the FA Cup weekend, again, that Arsenal and Chelsea have in common, is the young players standing up to be counted for. You know, Hudson-Odoi, brilliant performance from him for Chelsea over the weekend. Hopefully, well, for me, as I've said, I feel like he has to start against Fulham. Absolutely has to start. He's been in form and been playing well for weeks now.
You ain't playing Fulham no more.
Oh, wait. So on Saturday, who are we playing? No one.
Are we not playing Fulham? Are we not
I
playing
thought you said
Fulham?
the game got moved. Are you just saying the game's wrapped, finished?
Oh, they took Fulham
Nah.
off you and gave it to Tottenham. So Fulham are playing Tottenham on Wednesday. So they can't. I don't know. Wait, have you still got Fulham? I don't know,
bro. I do not remember this going down. I was not online today. The only time I come
don't you remember in the big?
We're going to play. We are playing. So they're going to play Spurs on Wednesday, and we are going to play them on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
so you're still playing them. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the game's just moved. I thought you said that we just don't play no football.
Okay.
Bro, you scared me. I was
like that, man. Just put an extra game for Fulham in between. I was thinking, right.
Okay. Yeah. So our next game's still Fulham. Hudson-Odoi has to start against Fulham, but also Arsenal, Saka, Smith Rowe. You know, Martinelli played very well against Chelsea when he played as well. A lot of great pressing from him and Saka that really did force us into mistakes. What other young players? I guess Tierney is a young player, but he's not from Hell's End. Martinelli's not either, but we kind of give it to him anyway. The point is, Hell's End is stepping up for you. Do you know what I mean? There's some really young guys in there. We speak about your Willians, your Pepe's not really stepping up to the fore, but your Sakas, you know, your Smith Rowes, they're really starting to come to the fore now. Have you? Yeah. How do you feel about that? Because obviously, I guess what I'm asking is, we saw Arteta play so much defensive football over, you know, the last few months. 5 at the back, you know, low blocks. Not really showing any real imagination or flexibility with his in-game management in terms of the way he was going to go about games. I remember using the game against Aston Villa. I watched so vividly and just didn't change anything. Do you know what I mean? No matter how many goals down you went, nothing changed, and criticism was correct for that. But now with the young players, is this what he wanted in the first place, or or is this kind of, did he just stumble upon this by chance? Do you think?
I think, you know what, I think you could say he stumbled across it, but he also took the risk, because the day that he had to leave Willian out, he could have easily just put Pepe in, someone we've seen this season, and made do like that. But he played Emil Smith Rowe, and then I give him credit for playing him again the next game, because everyone thought, would he revert back to type and bring in the experience he liked so much in Louise and Willian? He didn't do that. So I think, you know, as much as it fell into his lap, it seems like he's learning a lesson too. But at the same time, I understand that he wants to protect the young players, and I want to protect them too, because it's not on them to turn this around. It's on the people above to turn this around. We can find quick wins and find hope in these young players. But as we saw before, you know, young players get older. And as they get older, their ambitions rise. And if you're not doing the necessary work around them now, then they're not going to be happy in 4 years, regardless if they played 38 games a season for those 4 years. If you haven't built adequately around them, if you haven't built behind them, if you haven't put enough pressure on them, motivate them, build a side capable of challenging, then regardless, you could play them every single game for 4 years, they will want to move, because eventually they get older and they seek more responsibility, more trophies, more everything. Yeah. So I think that as much as, you know, I love it, and you need people from the academy. You know, my favorite Arsenal player of all time is probably Tony Adams, and it's probably Tony Adams because there is not much to choose from between him, Henry, Bergkamp for me, but Adams is Arsenal through and through. You know, he knows what it means, you know, from day one until now. You know, it's a bit different. And as much as I value that, at the same time, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all. I want Martinelli to succeed at this club as much as I want Saka to succeed at this club. It's just that I see Saka as someone who could stay here a long time, whereas Martinelli in a few years, he will want to move on regardless. So
you think that, yeah, 100%.
Oh, definitely, bro. Martinelli will want to move on, 100%. He's not here to stay in North London at Arsenal. In about 3-4 years, if we don't shape the team well enough, I assume he will be on the way out.
So like a Spanish club or someone like that, you think?
Yeah. Unless Juventus, maybe in Italy, is the only one I can think of, or depending on how AC Milan kick on from this year, I feel like his next step would be, you know, one of the big boys, you know, whether that's Barca, Real, Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, PSG. Well, PSG is a bit difficult considering who they got in those positions, but I feel like the next step for him will be maybe a bigger and better club.
Yeah. Well, listen, bro. I know you had to go at 4, so Is it 4 now? It is. So listen, I want to thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming on. Obviously, you came into a melee that happened at the beginning. But like I said, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's good to be. It's nice to now be able to have a channel where you can just escape from Twitter, come and talk your talk here, and leave that platform and let it do its thing for a sec. Because for me, it's very hard to communicate through characters. Here, this is perfect for me. You get to speak on your thing. Let the people know where to find you. I'm sure they already know, but you know what I mean? Let them know right now where they can get more Turkish content. And like I said, people, check out the Big Six tonight as well.
Just Turkish LDN, you know, YouTube channel Turkish LDN, Instagram Turkish LDN, Twitter, which I don't use often, Turkish LDN. But don't worry about how I came into the stream, man. Just know you, man. Listen, keep up doing what you're doing. If you need, Matisse, I already told you, if you need any advice, if you need anything, because I know how man try to draw man out in this world. Yeah, I wouldn't want one of you, man, to say the wrong thing without, you know, getting it double checked first, because that could ruin someone in this online environment. It could ruin someone. So Dammy, same goes to you. If you need any advice, if you want a suggestion, just let me know, my bro. It's calm, man. This is yours. This whole YouTube thing is all yours, man. Man's getting on a bit, so I'm gonna pass the reins to you.
Thanks so much, Turkish, man. Thank you so much, and
Love you,
I'll
man.
speak to you tonight. Anyway, we got a big show coming up, people. Like I said, check it out. 100%.
Dammy, Matt, take care, you, man.
In a bit, bro.
In a bit.
And now there was 2. Do you know what I mean? Now there was 2. And like I said, usually we go on for like an hour and 10, hour and 20. People, do you know what I mean? It's been a madness. Do you know what I mean? It's been an absolute madness today. Brother's just been coasting, enjoying his life, and then let Twitter.com do his thing. But Dammy, are you are you looking forward to Fulham? Are you looking forward to it?
I mean, of course, I'm looking now. If the thing is, if anything, I wouldn't say there's more pressure, but man, we need to beat Fulham now, because the fact that they're going up against the Tottenham side, okay, this Wednesday, and they're going to have less time to rest than us, they should be absolutely dismantling them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Fulham, I'm not looking, and nobody, please, honestly, and let me just make this very, very clear. Yeah, let me make this very, very clear without watching. If we go out and absolutely smash Fulham in, okay, I will be happy. If you come at anybody and ask them why they were questioning a scenario when things were negative, okay, then you have lost your mind. I'm sorry, you have lost the plot and you don't know what's going on. Football is an opinionated sport. Everybody has their opinions.
Bearing in mind, it's also Fulham who are 18th, who are now going to play Tottenham on Wednesday. So we should be smashing them, by the way.
Exactly.
If you have your standards and priorities in order, and you haven't fallen too far into the gutter, then you should be expecting us to smash Fulham this weekend. I mean, you should also be expecting us to finish 4th.
Exactly. So that trophy is still in my mind. That FA Cup, very much so. That's where I set my standards at the end of last season. So for me, this Fulham game, we should be absolutely smoking them off the park. I'm not expecting any. I don't want any theatricals in that game. Do you know what I mean? They are playing
whole week break. You know,
whole week break. I think I was even expecting us to do this when they had a whole week break. Now they don't even have that. They are playing on Wednesday. They have to get back on Thursday, recovering on Friday, and boom, they're back at Stamford. Is it Stamford Bridge? I don't even know where we're playing, but we're going to go up against them in it. Do you know where I'm coming from?
It's at Craven Cottage, yeah.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make a difference because there's no fans anyway.
It don't make a difference. So we should be absolutely battering these men. They should be touching them up. You understand? Sorry for my English, but we should be touching these men. Short and simple. Like Patrick Larson is saying in the comments, it's fine to have opinions and to debate, attacking, blah, 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 renders your position invalid. So let's just keep it all real and keep everything as straight facts here. We should be absolutely touching these men up and destroying them regardless. I don't want to see anybody piping up the way people have piped up for Morecambe, because once again, we are just getting back. I don't know if this Morecambe game is going to be a kickstart into like a good run of form again. I don't know. Hopefully it is, because once again, for anybody that thinks Matisse and I sit here and credit, there are some idiots who think we credit off negativity. Remember our videos where we're laughing and bantering? They get more views. You understand? They get way more views if that's what you're thinking. I credit so much when Chelsea's winning. When we're losing, I don't get nothing, bro. So that's what you might need to. I don't even get money from
the argument is not even valid, because we made a video saying why we are Lampard in the heat of Chelsea playing poorly. This was this was 2 days after we drew 1-1 to Villa and the game before Man City. We made a video. Me, you, and Mod made a video why we were Lampard in. It wasn't easy. Clearly, the reasoning, but we tried. Do you know what I mean? We tried our best. So,
in the heat of the battle.
while
looking at both sides, while looking at both sides, this was breaking it down, looking at Lampard out, looking at Lampard in, looking at the situation, because both sides have valid arguments. You know what I mean? Maybe some might agree more than the other, but once again, you don't come at me telling me I'm a negative fan or I profit off negativity, because I will honestly just mute or block you. I don't have time for that in my life. I'm a busy man. I'm busy and we have things to do. I don't have time for arguing with stupid people who have agendas and are jealous that people are to come up. So yeah.
100%. Well, people, it's being real. Do you know what I mean? It's being real. Make sure you check out Dammy. He was on yesterday, so I'm sure you know where to go at this point. The Grand Dam on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Don't sleep. Keep woke. I'm gonna be having Curtis Shaw on tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the evening UK time. We're gonna have the London's Carnage show with Lee Gunner and Tottenham Tobes on Wednesday. We're gonna have All You Can Eat with Miz and Eunice on Thursday, and I'm gonna be on Lawrence's channel at 5 p.m. today. So if you want to see me speak more about Chelsea today on YouTube, then I'm gonna be on Lawrence's channel at 5 p.m. And yeah, people, keep it real. Do you know what I mean? Don't allow no one to try and have you up on Twitter. I don't care what age they are. Do you know what I mean? These grown adults need to learn to behave themselves just as much as the kids, as far as I'm concerned. Don't want to see people talking about toxicity in the fan base and all this shit. And then at the same time calling people the C word on Twitter. So everybody needs to pattern up, adults and children. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I can criticize Lampard if I want to, especially when we're going through 3-0 clappings, getting our butt cheeks handed to us against Arsenal and whatnot.
Going in raw,
do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, 100%. This he needs to fix it up. He needs to turn it around. And I think no matter what side of the fence you're on, let this sit with you. When the Athletic come out with a report 2 minutes after the game, Athletic, this is not no Mickey Mouse Corporation. This is a very well in the know.
Somebody called them a Mickey Mouse Corporation this afternoon, but I'm not going to speak.
Very well known group of journalists. Yeah. Also, check out the Athletic post on Havertz and him playing deeper. Liam Tooney. That's a very good article that went out the other day. If you have it, when the Athletic are posting saying that Lampard is on the brink and it's squeaky bum time, right? If you're still not criticizing some of his aspects in his managerial situation, what you can be in, but if you're still not looking at some of the things that he's doing wrong and potentially things that he needs to, fix up, and it's just everything, there's a reason behind it. There's a reason why he's doing this, there's a reason why he's doing that. We've never made these excuses for other managers before. You've never, I'm convinced at this point that Zappa Costa could come back and play up front and someone would be able to tell me why Lampard has done that, justify a reason. When it's squeaky bum time, it's squeaky bum time, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't matter who is in charge. There are things that he has been doing wrong, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, over the last couple of weeks. It's not wrong to speak on that. It's not wrong to criticize a manager that we all accepted is still learning on the job, who is still going to make mistakes on the job, who put Batshuayi over Giroud last season for the entire first period of it. He's going to make mistakes, and you can criticize him. And like I said, and then yesterday like I said, it was only Morecambe, but there was signs of, things that we wanted to see in terms of Havertz in the box, in terms of Hudson-Odoi on the wing, Werner not on the wing, things like that. Then you give him some praise. It's not a problem, people. It's not a problem. I will see you guys tomorrow with Curtis Shaw. Like I said, Lawrence at 5 p.m. In a bit, people. Peace.